The Grand Stelliforum had existed longer than most of the species now seated within it. 13,000 years of judgment had been carved into its black, curving walls, which arched high into shadows no light could fully reach. 4 to 7 thrones formed a perfect circle around a raised platform in the center. Each throne was built for a different life form, and each was occupied by a civilization powerful enough to shape entire star systems. On this cycle, all of them had gathered for one reason. Humanity was on trial. 3 humans stood on the central platform. Elias Ward, Earth's senior envoy, took the first step forward. His movements were calm, deliberate, shaped by a lifetime of negotiating with beings who could erase planets with a vote. He wore no medals or markings of rank, only a simple dark suit that reflected no light. At his side stood Commander Lian Zhao, her posture rigid, her eyes sharp. She had commanded fleets across half the galaxy and had never fired the first shot. Somewhere beyond the station's hull, her warship waited in quiet readiness. The third human was unlike the other two. Captain Roman Hale had not been invited. He had arrived through a jump corridor the assembly had never recorded, piloting a vessel that should not have been able to exist. His uniform was worn, his stance unceremonious, his expression unreadable. He did not look like someone waiting to be judged. He looked like someone who already knew how the story would end. The towering figure of High Adjudicator Cakes rose from his seat. His insect-like body reflected the chamber's dim glow as dozens of multifaceted eyes focused on the humans. Humanity stands accused, Cakes declared, of illegal expansion, trespass into protected systems, and hostile actions against member civilizations. How do you respond? Ward did not hesitate. We ask for specifics. Which events are being used to justify these charges? A star chart ignited above the platform. Red markers appeared across dozens of systems. 17 colonies established inside restricted regions, Cakes said. No approval. No negotiation. Ward expected that. Territorial disputes were common. But then another voice thundered through the chamber. Graphic of the viral Imperium rose, his massive reptilian frame vibrating with rage. 300 of my soldiers vanished near the Kepler expanse. One of our patrol cruisers was erased. No debris. No survivors. Only human jump traces. The chamber went silent. This was no longer about borders. Ward met the accusation head-on. Earth has conducted no military operations in that sector. Lies. Graphic snarled. Our ships do not simply vanish. Commander Zhao stepped forward. Our navigation and combat logs were submitted for review. None of our vessels were near Kepler. Cakes tilted his head. Yet human warp signatures were detected there. Zhao hesitated. Just a fraction. I cannot account for every independent Earth ship, she said carefully. But none under my command engaged in combat. Suspicion spread through the chamber like a slow-moving storm. The assembly conferred briefly, then delivered its ruling. Humanity would be given one full cycle to prepare a defense. Until then, the 3 humans were confined. No transmissions. No departures. As the chamber doors sealed behind them, the weight of the verdict lingered in the air. Hale broke the silence. This is only going to get worse. Ward turned toward him. Then you should explain why your ship was in Kepler. Hale met his gaze without blinking. Because I was already there. The evidence no one wanted. Hale's words hung in the air like a blade. I was already there. Ward stared at him. Then start talking. Hale activated a small data shard. A 3-dimensional wreck bloomed between them. Twisted metal, fractured armor plating, and the unmistakable outline of a viral strike cruiser. My ship, the Vanguard, crossed Kepler 3 weeks ago, Hale said. We were testing an experimental jump corridor. That's when we found this. Commander Zhao's breath caught. That's a viral warship. Was, Hale replied. Something cut straight through its shields, sliced the hull like paper, and detonated the reactor with surgical accuracy. No boarding. No missiles. Just erased. Ward frowned. If you had this, why didn't you report it? Because whatever did this is beyond anything in assembly records, Hale said. And if the wrong people panicked, they'd start a war they couldn't survive. Zhao snapped. You hid evidence of an attack. I hid it to prevent a galaxy-wide suicide, Hale shot back. Ward raised a hand. Can your data survive scrutiny? Every reading can be independently verified. Then we use it. When the tribunal reconvened, every one of the 4 to 7 delegates was present. Rumors had already spread. Fear had replaced outrage. Ward stepped forward. Humanity requests permission to submit newly discovered evidence. Approval was granted. Hale triggered the projection. Energy signatures, timestamps, and spatial coordinates filled the chamber. 21 days ago, Hale said, we found the remains of a viral strike cruiser. It was not defeated. It was dissected. Shields breached. Core neutralized with precision no known weapon can achieve. The energy patterns pulsed. This technology exceeds anything we have by more than 12 times. Accusations erupted until Hale opened the raw data. Silence returned. Brittle. Uneasy. If this is real, one envoy whispered, what fired that weapon? Hale answered quietly. We don't know. There was no ship. No debris. Just empty space. 2 cycles later, independent analysts confirmed it. The data was real. The charges against humanity collapsed overnight. Something far worse had taken their place. An emergency council was called. The viral Imperium demanded vengeance. Others demanded research. Chaos consumed the chamber. Commander Zhao stepped forward. The last viral fleet that entered that region vanished. Sending more ships won't give you answers. It will only create more graves. Reluctantly, a compromise was reached. A joint task force. 1 human ship. 1 viral vessel. 1 Salathai scout. They returned to Kepler. Among the drifting wreckage, sensors detected something beneath a barren planetoid. Faint energy deep under its stone crust. Mathematical signals were transmitted. Prime numbers. Ratios. The reply came instantly. Coordinates followed. A landing team descended. Deep below the surface, they found it, a crystalline machine, glowing with structured intelligence. A sentinel. It spoke through mathematical constructs, pouring meaning directly into their minds. It did not know its creators. Only its purpose. It was guarding something that was not meant to wake. The sentinel revealed the truth. An ancient civilization had once created a perfect replicator, an entity that consumed matter, energy, even thought, turning everything into more of itself. They could not destroy it. In desperation, they shattered it and locked the fragments away, guarded by sentinels. Then they erased themselves from existence. The viral cruiser had crossed a sealed boundary. The sentinel had done what it was designed to do. The revelation was broadcast to the entire assembly. Fear unlike any before swept across the stars. Humanity was no longer on trial. The galaxy was. Elias Ward stood before the full council. We can deny this. We can fight over it. Or we can face it together. Isolation means extinction. Cooperation means survival. After hours of argument, the vote was cast. A unified galactic authority was formed. Sentinel zones were quarantined. Joint fleets were created. Knowledge was shared. For the first time in history, rival empires faced the same direction. Months later, mixed fleets trained side by side. Humanity had entered the galaxy accused of violence. Instead, it helped uncover a truth older than civilization itself. Some things should never awaken. And only together could the darkness between the stars be held back.